shots. I've got no time to lose. I'm just caught up in all the cattle.
Play the strings, play the shapes. Hold your breath.
Listen, I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I forget. I'm ready to cross the ditch and settle in the dirt. I'm where you like a stitch. Yeah, I'm the one who's hurt. Pay attention to your twisted little indiscretions. I've got no right to win. I'm just caught up in all the battles.
Locked in flesh, pushed in place. Hold your breath.
Listen, I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I forget. Before I forget that. I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I forget. Before I forget that.
It justifies my needs. All I ever do is delay, but every time to evade. You're the road in my head. It justifies my means. All I ever do is delay. My every attempt to evade.
The end of the road. I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I remember before I forget. Before I forget that. I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I forget. Before I forget that. I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I forget. Before I forget that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
This is Renegade Radio.
Maybe I'm just a more sensitive person.
Why?
Because, like, I can be doing other things over here, and I'm like, you know something, though, John's talking to me. It would be so rude if I just looked away, and I was like, maybe I should read a text or look for some sort of
You
song
look at
or
your phone
something.
all the time, and then when I'm saying something, you go,
So who the hell's going to be feeling up the bag once it gets in there?
You go to the prom with me, Larry.
Do you, Bryan, take Larry?
The governor of Michigan, like we mentioned before, there was apparently this plot that the FBI thwarted.
Is it thwarted or thwarted?
I don't know why you always ask that, Brian. It's thwart.
No, I think it's thwart.
Well, it's not.
Well, it's not thwart.
It's thwart, Brian.
It's thwarted.
No, it's thwart. I don't know why.
You're saying thwart with an F.
No, thwart.
Okay, well then, but you're saying thwart with an F. 500, I get 500, 400
After
today.
you say the
450.
450.
Exactly.
All right, I heard 450, but
Yes.
what was all the other crap?
I was saying stuff about the car.
Oh, you were?
I was. You just weren't listening.
Wow, that was good. You could do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
450.
Oh, Brian, and then
So doing it.
You guys are the only show you can listen to without those friggin' stupid, cue sad music commercials. Oh, shelter in place, wear your mask, wash your hands. Then what's the friggin' Christmas commercial? Oh my God, you can't get away from it.
Slam! Go Dodo! Go Dodo! Let the boys be boys.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. We're
atomic age. This atomic age of renegades. Renegades of this atomic age. This atomic age of renegades. Since the prehistoric ages and the days of ancient Greece, walked down through the Middle Ages. Planet Earth kept going through changes, and then the Renaissance came. The times continue to change. Nothing stayed the same, but there were always renegades like Chief Sitting Bull, Tom Paine, Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. They were renegades of their time and age. So many renegades. We're the renegades of funk. 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 From a different solar system, many galaxies away, we are the force of another creation, a new musical revelation. And we're on this musical mission to help the others listen and go from land to land, singing electronic jazz like Zulu Nation. Revelations, destroy our nations, 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 destroy our nations. Now renegades are the people.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard. We are Renegade Radio. John Pica, Bryan Burner, hanging out. TheRenegadeRadio.com. That's the website. Go check that out. It's in there's the chat room. Stephen, New Hampshire, Ed Woburn, KLM 58, chilling, all hanging in the chat room. Also, YouTube. We're streaming live. Renegade Radio Boston. That's where you get us. Chat room's in there as well. John and Branchy's there. Old Bryan is also in the old chat room as well on YouTube.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Bryan is
I
there.
like that Mr. Baka Baka Baka.
Yeah. Mr. Look at the Mr.
Or Mrs. I don't mean to just assume gender.
What's a Mr.?
Oh, it is a Mr. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I was glad with my assumption.
Well, I mean, I'm just really guessing with confidence.
Oh, all right. Well, then I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Mr. Baka Baka Baka.
Yeah. So good morning, good day, whatever you want to call it.
Afternoon.
It's not afternoon yet.
Well, 23 minutes it will be.
Well, that's why I said good morning.
Well, I mean, good late morning.
Well, that's why I also say good day or whatever you want to call it.
I just
Certainly
said
wouldn't say good
I
afternoon.
still say afternoon.
Well, then good evening.
You can say whatever you want. I'm
Well,
just saying.
Well, I think you're saying good afternoon because you're being an a-hole. I think that's what it is.
Not necessarily
Yeah,
true.
well, necessarily, yes, true.
No, not necessarily true.
I get that, but in this case, it was necessarily true.
All right, fair enough.
See what I'm saying?
All right, fair enough. I get it.
My goodness, unbelievable! I got stuck at work, and you make me feel like a jerk for it.
Well, that's because we got stuck here waiting for you.
I know, man. I hate it. Sometimes there's nothing I can do. I just get stuck. But I was able to squeeze out a little extra time, so we got a little extra today.
So now we can do it exactly an hour.
Yeah, exactly 1 hour today. That's what we got. One whole hour. Well, I mean, I had to leave at 12, but I was able to snag the old schedule, so.
Yay.
So it's good enough. So good morning, everybody. What's going on? Nothing old happening in the old news. No, swaps happening. No big news or anything like that. Or,
You know something? If you had any doubt
wow.
that this moron in the White House is a moron, yesterday kind of tied that up for you, didn't it?
Nailed it.
You got your answer there, front and center.
I mean, that's crazy.
Well, no, John.
That
It's
is just crazy.
when you listen to him and you listen to Jean-Claude Van Damme, his press secretary.
Yeah.
She was saying yesterday, look, that guy wasn't even on the table. So what are you bitching about? So
I mean, for them to say that, even admit that,
wasn't on the table.
he wasn't. That wasn't part of the deal.
The ex-military guy that they Trump charges up against, and who's been in jail for, actually not jail, been in a Russian jail for over 4 years.
Yeah.
And no, it was more important to get the pothead basketball player out.
Yeah, that's who you want to get out first.
Because he/she, is more
the
important.
one who hates the country. Yeah, take that one instead of the one who served for the country.
Yeah, and literally put his life on the line for this country. Let him sit. I'll tell you something. They had his family. I guess they put out like a little thing yesterday, and they just said, "We're disappointed, but we're waiting to hear what's next."
Mm-hmm.
Kind of saying, "Hey, you old bag of ass, you better do something. You
Unreal.
better do something, man."
It's frustrating too because when you hear if you hear some of the news stories about this, it's so misleading and very one-sided. Driving in today, just now, driving in, I heard a little sports flash, and that was the first thing it talked about. Is a WNBA star, Brittany Griner, whatever her name is, Griner, I think. released from a Russian prison on a prisoner swap, and she is in Texas right now, getting checked over by the government, and she'll be released to her family. Blah 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 blah. But I'm thinking, why don't you just mention the fact that it was the prison swap was, just the arms dealer,
a guy that's responsible for selling thousands upon thousands of missiles and AR-15s. By the way,
arms dealer.
I'll tell you something. This administration and all you mother effing hardcore lefties, if I ever hear one word about the Second Amendment or gun control out of your faces ever again, you literally just let a guns arms dealer loose.
Wow.
A guy that, once again, is responsible for not just selling the stuff that killed probably thousands of Americans.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But other people as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was around for quite some time. Yeah.
Throughout the world, this guy.
Yeah. I mean, so you guys who really, really hate guns, probably not the best move to let an arms dealer loose.
Yeah. Amazing though, when I heard that sports flash, that was not even mentioned. Not one little bit of who the swap was for.
Of course not.
I mean, and that's just crazy. And you have our servicemen and women all over the place serving, especially the one right now that's been in prison, Russian prison, 4 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you're doing nothing. And for the press secretary to say, I mean, come on, we can only, that wasn't, you didn't ask. You only asked to get the basketball star out.
Well,
the one that says she hates America.
The only and trust me, nobody on the right was asking to get her out. It was all your hardcore lefties. And this is the best part of all this. And once again, if you don't think all of this is orchestrated, you're stupid. And you're not just, you're not just blissfully ignorant. You're stupid. You're a dumb person. It's ironic how this happens. When were the midterms again?
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
just a little while ago. Oh, and then the real important one the other day. Okay. So that came out. So basically, it's called a false flag when they steal an election, and instead of people going, so they did it again, it was 0.5% the whole thing, and then all of a sudden they found votes in the middle. Wait a minute, you let her go?
Yeah, exactly.
Arms dealer?
Let's on to the next thing. Come on.
So now you move from them stealing the election onto this. They did this on purpose. It's because it's twofold, really. If they did it before the election, they know a lot of people, even Democrats, wouldn't have voted for him.
Yep.
Two, now
this was the best timing, I think. Because they knew they had it rigged anyway. So they knew, all right, that part's fine.
Well, and it gives you the false flag.
Exactly.
Kills two birds with one stone.
Oh my God, it's textbook.
It's horrible what they've done. I mean, it really is just horrible. I am amazed.
I'm shocked by it.
You know what I'm really shocked by? I was reading something too, and I mean, granted, we'll definitely get back to that one, but this morning, they're talking about how a lot of the gas companies, oil refineries, whatever, are starting to transition, over, even though they don't see a lot of promise in it. I keep going back to this. 2 years ago, we're the number one producer of oil in the world, right?
Yeah.
Make a lot of money.
Yeah.
One guy gets in and says, "Nah, we're not going to do that anymore." So the entire world's economy and businesses worth trillions of dollars just go, all right, well, the guy that's in for 4 years said no, so let's change our entire business plan.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
None of this makes any sense.
No.
None of this makes any sense. And then the same guy says to, what is it, Venezuela?
Yeah.
A socialist guy, the guy kills his own people if they step out of line. And this is why we're supposed to have sanctions against them to help the people. Now we just said, go ahead and drill.
Right.
We're fine with it. Kill your people and drill, whatevs.
This is just crazy. You can't even write this stuff. If they tried to make a movie out of this, I mean, you would think it was such a ridiculous story. It wouldn't even play.
It's not believable.
No,
You're
it's not believable.
It's
not at all. I mean, but this is real life, all of it. I mean, every step of the way. And every step, though, it's more stunning that you're thinking, wait a minute, I was kind of predicting it was going to be that crazy, but I didn't think it was going to be that crazy.
I'll say this about us, and I know we goof around about this a lot, but I always thought it was, and especially in the beginning, because some people on this show, no names are going to be given, take a tremendous amount of THC. And some of us have for a long time, some have for probably 30 days less time, throughout our lives. So
yes.
A lot of times when we talk, sometimes we'll say stuff like, that's just the weed paranoia.
Right.
That's just that's the weed talking, stuff like that. And then I'll be honest with you, like within a month or so, we'll go, hey, didn't we call that? Like what?
Well,
did that really happen?
I'll give one example. The invasion in Ukraine. Now it's coming out that it seems like Zelensky and Putin have had a past.
And I will say this. I'm gonna give you most of the credit on this one, because for the first day or so, I was all into it, and I was like, "This is crazy," blah blah. And you kept saying, "Don't worry, it's an act."
Mhm.
This is, and I'm nah. And honestly, I think it was the first day when you said it was an act. I was like, hold on. And I went home and I started looking stuff up that we talked about, and I'm like, son of a bitch, he's right.
Yeah.
Like, this is a goof. Like, this isn't real.
Nailed that one.
You really did.
But it's crazy though, because that itself, I mean, when you really look at that, and you hear that now these two have kind of had a past, you hear more and more of these kind of layers of that onion are getting peeled back, and you're thinking this was just, I think the whole thing is a setup to extort money from the United States. That's all it was. And I think it had something to do with the whole Biden thing, with the whole $1 billion and all that crap. That's all this is.
Bill Gates, like him or not, I lean towards the not. Bill Gates, just a few years ago, was telling us everything that's going to happen, or that's happening now. Okay. He's more like a Nostradamus, or just a guy in the know. He's the guy that said, look, you know something, we have a population problem. People are living longer than they ever have, and that's putting a drain on food and supplies and stuff. So a nice pandemic would clear that up, right? Then he talked about food shortages. He talked about pandemics. He talked about being unprepared. He also talked about a power shift going to happen within the world, where it's going to be very painful for a lot of people. Like, the money's going to be, people are going to lose their jobs and homes, and just countries are trading power. So America, that rode high and was number one for a very long time, is now giving their power back to someone else. And if you don't believe that, you look when it started, probably in the Clinton years, slowly. But even when you got into Obama, when he was given the rights away for the internet, and, and then him and Biden gave away so much of our military. You know what I mean? Gave away our weapons and stuff to other countries. And then we gave billions and trillions to other companies. So we've bankrupted ourselves. We've given all this stuff away. That now, if somebody comes after us, what are we going to do?
All right. We have nothing.
We're going to put up a
fight. We're so depleted right now.
We're going to put up a fight for about a week.
We gave a tremendous amount of our military away to the Taliban. We gave them everything. So we also are depleted because we're somehow giving aid to the Ukraine for some reason to bolster the Russian military.
Think about how crazy this is. Joe Biden literally has not been in for a full 2 years yet.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Within that time, I want to know how much money have we either left, lost, or given away? Okay. Because I heard on the other day that there's quite a few billion they can't figure out where it went.
Oh, no, it was trillion.
Oh, trillion. Pardon me. I still can't get used to trillion being real.
Right. Yep. I know. They're tossing that number around like nothing.
What's
I
weird?
think it was 6 trillion.
What's crazy about all that is, I remember when I used to think million was a lot.
Yeah.
And then when you said billion, you'd go, what? A what? Oh, yeah, that's the one above it, right?
Yeah.
Now you're talking trillions, which is just crazy.
Yeah, you're talking the IRS trying to do doing a tax audit on the. I mean, and if they're saying, because I believe the number was 6 trillion, and somebody in the chat room maybe correct me if I'm right or wrong. I do believe it was 6, but if say it was 4 trillion.
Oh, well, then forget about it.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
Oh, no, 6 is more. 4 trillion.
But the way that they're just like, you know something, we're going to learn from this. That's what we're going to do. This is a learning experience.
We brought this up the other day. This happens every few years with this government.
Right.
It happened. The most famous one is the one that happened with Donald Rumsfeld right before 9/11, where they lost the receipts for billions upon billions of dollars that they couldn't figure out where the money went.
Right.
And then the next day, 9/11 happened. And unfortunately, Building 7 that wasn't hit by the plane fell too. And all the receipts were there. So they do this stuff, John, all the time.
Yeah.
And they blame the goofiest of S. I would be shocked if for some reason they said, look, we're looking for the 6 trillion, but what had happened was we sent it all over to Russia, right? And then Putin must have put it in one of the tanks, and we blew the tank up by mistake. Bang, bang, boom.
Yeah, the tank was right near that pipeline that we blew up.
Yeah, who knew?
They had no idea that was going to happen.
If you saw we were sending the stuff through the pipeline, then it blew up. You saw papers coming up, didn't you? Just ridiculous. I mean, as silly as this is, like you did nail it, because I remember thinking it was funny that this Zelensky character was literally an actor who just played the president on a TV show, and it was a very popular one, so people liked him. So this shows you how stupid and corrupt, but I'm going to say how corrupt the country is, and yet how stupid the people are of the Ukraine. Just because you like somebody in a role doesn't mean they should have the real job.
Right.
Like, he wasn't really the president on TV. He was pretending. So it's like
he pretended good, though. But he still is.
Imagine if we elected Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
Because everybody liked him in the West Wing. You know what I
True.
mean? Like as president. And he doesn't know what he's doing, but that's what they've done. And now
we elected a reality star.
But think about
that's the comeback.
But think
who happened to be really good.
But there's a difference between reality and fake, John.
100%.
The reality star showed you who he was in the beginning, showed you he was a businessman, like him or not, and that's what he did.
Yeah, but
this other guy pretended to be.
You gotta believe everything you see on TV.
This guy, let's put it this way, and this
Trump Todd.
This is what bothers me the most about Zelensky. He not only took over a country, right, with no experience in government or running a country, right? Not only had to deal with America, okay, and it's a big deal. If you're, I would assume you get a little stage fright if you're dealing with the top dogs at some point.
Yeah, I would think.
Okay, and then you're dealing with Putin and Xi and all that. Now you decide this actor who has done nothing in his life except act is going to take on the second largest world power that has nukes.
Yeah.
You alone have the plan that is going to beat a world power. Before this, once again, 6 months before all this, you were reading and memorizing script lines to pretend to be a thing. Now you are the president and people are following you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do things like shut your border, and nobody says a word about that, by the way, you shut your border and all of a sudden the men are like, hey, we're going to take our wives and kids and get out of here. And they're like, no, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. Get back in there. The liberals saying, well, they're making them fight, you fascist scumbags.
They had a tremendous amount of lockdowns there.
Tremendous.
They didn't they haven't and still don't let their people do much right now. I forget there was a list of things somebody put out the other day of what Zelensky has told his people they cannot do. And he's got his people in a stronghold, the ones who are there.
But that's why, you know why, John? Because he's a dictator.
Yeah, he is.
He's
a clear dictator.
They act like they elected him. No.
Mhm.
Let's put it this way. It's kind of, once again, what happened was Biden, you see, being as demented and so full of himself and so full of power for years, he kind of let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
When he did the whole, I'm not going to give you the $1 billion, and son of a bitch, they fired him.
Right.
That type of stuff.
That was it.
He showed you how much power and how much play America had over there in the Ukraine.
Mhm.
Like, that's a lot. When you could get, and people go, oh, it's just a prosecutor. No, it's a prosecutor that's investigating his son and him. So the fact that he could get him fired by withholding $1 billion of our money is criminal.
Right.
But nobody sees it that way because it's Joe Biden for some reason, and you're just supposed to be okay with it. But he does that. You have now this guy who they pretty much get rid of. They say to that president, oh, you fired the guy? That's great. And then where do you go again? Oh, you're fired. You're out of here. We're going to put an actor in your place.
Yeah.
And then World War III almost starts.
And he's played everybody so well. I mean, think of it. All the dictators have passed. What's their dress been like? Very militant. Him, he's a casual guy, never wearing a hat. Like one of those dictator type hats.
Yeah, like the Green Army hat.
Never like that. He's just his hair is just a little bit messed up, but that's fashionable. He's always in one of his like military fatigue type shirts.
Yeah, he looks like every guy in every bad guy though in an 80s teen movie with his hair feathered back.
Yeah, but dressed as like I want to be a heartthrob.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's got all that. That's what, and that's
he's
what
John Cusack.
Yeah, if he was dressed differently and dressed like a militant dictator. Well,
I heard Zelensky wanted to try to work this out with Putin, so he showed up outside Putin's window and held a boombox over his head.
That was great. Did he also mow the lawn forever and ever on that stupid lawnmower? That's just weird that everybody has fallen for this since day one. Still kind of do.
It's amazing.
People are still about helping the Ukraine and give everybody this, give them that. I mean, I'm about helping innocent people if in need. But you're talking about a communist dictator type a-hole saying no.
And you're also acting like these poor people of the Ukraine. By the way, if you were saying these poor people of Africa, or these poor people,
Israel
of Israel, because I've seen those commercials. They're living out in huts for some reason.
Yeah.
Somebody tell those old people their cities now, their apartments.
Yeah, and ask them if they can hitch a ride with the camera crew.
And by the way, I know I gave you $59.95 to send them a box, but why do you just put one pomegranate in it?
Yeah, I know.
You couldn't send them a few pomegranates.
Wait, did any of my $59.99 pay for your hotel that you're staying in while you're there?
I know I picked up your dinner bill,
Yeah.
but that poor old lady with the scarf on her head.
Yeah,
she's still eating walnuts.
She got an apple, eh?
Yeah, you gave her walnuts, but no cracker. Just stupid. But
so dumb.
But right now, if you think about, I would love to know the exact number between us and other countries, how much money is flooded into the Ukraine. So much so, actually, the UN the other day, right, approved more money
Cool.
Right. And I think it was like 30 some odd $billion. But forgive me just because I was half reading. I know let's put it this way, and this is what makes the pit of my stomach just churn. I know it wasn't us, but another country stopped it and said enough's enough. Like this is enough. Like you're asking all of us to chip in again now?
Oh my God.
Like, you know what I mean? Enough is enough.
I'm not sure how he's fooled the entire world. The entire world. I mean, this is they're making the mockery of everything. To everybody, because how has he fooled our country?
Because
I mean, it's really not a fool.
It's no, we're a part of it. But you're right, and you nailed it from the beginning when you said it goes back to how Biden exposed what was under the surface for years.
Yeah,
we've been dealing with other countries like this for years, so they hide our stuff, we hide their stuff, on and on. We'll throw you some money, act like you're in a war, we throw you some money, and that's how we pay you off. Biden, Biden's family. I love the fact that, and this really blows my mind, and anybody who says this is different really freaks me out. The Hunter Biden laptop has been confirmed. Okay, whether you like that fact or not, it's been confirmed. Now, the emails on it, this is how they get away with it, because I watched CNBC the other day, and I read, and I didn't want to, but I did it for you guys. I read the Wall Street Journal, and I'm sorry, the New York Times. And what they're saying is, yes, that is Hunter Biden's laptop, but the emails can't be confirmed. And then it was
his laptop.
Only a third of the emails have been confirmed so far. The pictures of him with the underage girls, and they are underage girls, they've been confirmed, but whatever. That's why they've been trying to, if you've noticed over the last year or so, they've been trying to make the stigma of adults sleeping with kids not so bad.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I'm like, well, whatever. It's just child man love.
That is just ridiculous.
Like,
you're right.
Incredible.
They are trying to do that,
but they've done that forever. Now all of a sudden, you see a picture of Hunter, and you go, well,
that's the big deal.
Yeah, it's something that it's not as bad as having the trannies at the kindergarten.
My God.
So that's exactly what they're doing. But that's how the other news gets away with it. So I posted on their Twitter or something. I said, actually, all of this has been confirmed, the emails included, because the emails were coming from a secure server, you assholes. You know what I mean? How do you not know this? You're reporters. But even it's not like Hunter was going on, AOL and sending his emails. He had a secure thing.
Yeah.
So they know it's him. That's why they're not saying much about it.
It's just, but they'll just trying to hide it. They're trying to. I mean, they have been for a while. I mean, they suppressed Giuliani because of this.
Think of what they did then. By the way, did you know all of Giuliani's charges about a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, were dropped? All of them. That whole thing, they're going to put him in jail. They're going to wreck his career. They're going to take his law licenses. He wasn't allowed to practice law. All that stuff, all dropped because of insufficient evidence. So
no kidding.
You have these people that just smeared this man, and now have others. Because if you go on Giuliani's Twitter, you see these bots and these people that are just vicious. Well, kind of like, think about this. Kirstie Alley from Cheers died the other day. Kirstie Alley was a very vocal, kind of MAGA person. She wanted the country to do well. You go to Kirstie Alley's Twitter, and it's horrible. These people wishing death on it. You fat
pig.
Just
crazy.
All this horrible,
crazy,
mean things. But that's what they do. They turn on you, and when they do, they can't then admit they're wrong at any point. So even the people that went after Giuliani, America's mayor, everybody, the guy who literally led not just the city but the country through 9/11 because George Bush couldn't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this guy helped everybody. Is so hated now by the left. And people, like, I wrote something to Giuliani, like he wrote, I forget, he posted something. I just said something, like, we love you, Rudy. People that were there love you. And people, you effing homo to me. And I'm like,
I mean, listen, that's just incredible.
What's crazy is the people that would have screamed years ago if somebody else would have used the term homo for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It would have been screamed and said you were homophobic. Now we're calling me those names.
Well, it's okay, Bryan, because you're on the other side.
I'm cool.
They were on the good side. But if you said that to them, you'd still face the same wrath you would have years ago.
Exactly.
But you're just on the wrong side.
But I just did what my teacher used to tell me, John, as a kid.
What you do,
yes,
Bryan?
I am a homo. Sapien.
Oh yeah! I thought you were gonna pull out the "I know you are, but what am I?"
No, but it's just one of those things where they're just so angry and evil. But getting back very quickly to the whole Zelensky thing, you called it from the get-go. We have been played. We have given them so much money. We were bankrupt before all this.
I mean, now look at what it's done.
And here's,
it's over like 60 billion.
But
that's what they're telling us.
So let's say 100 or so.
Yeah, easily.
And then add the whole Afghanistan debacle and all that.
86.
All right, let's just say 100. Let's round up to 100.
That's all right. In between the two, that's about 200 billion.
Okay, $200 billion. Right? So now you have $200 billion. Now think about this. What if we took $200 billion and put it into the VA? What if we put it into, I don't know, our animal shelters?
Yeah.
What if we put it into anything to help the homeless?
Or cancer research.
Cancer research. So, yeah, St. Jude's Hospital would love it.
The children of that are perfect.
I mean, and it's a beautiful thing to give to.
Yeah.
All this stuff. By the way, give to St. Jude's this holiday season, everybody.
Aw.
But you know, just you could do all that. Instead, we took the money and we burnt it, and it's gone, and it's never going to benefit any of us. We'll pay for it for the next 20 some 30 years, but you'll never get anything for it. And that was done by a man who hates this country. That's how all this started, was getting back to, we elected the enemy. You know what I mean? What was it, El Salvador? Was
El Salvador.
Yeah, that president came out and tweeted, basically, you've elected your enemy.
And that's so true. I mean, we knew this from day one when he started running. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, but the way he was running, not really campaigning at all, waiting for a while to even
Well, he
start
knew
the
he had
campaign.
it.
Yeah,
He knew he had it.
It's just, this one was so obvious. Like if there was somebody able to go back and make like a documentary to prove how obvious this was rigged from the get go, and where this has led us to, you know, where, you know, from electing him to where he's driven this country.
Well, when you, John,
It'd be great to see.
They've done it since then too, by the way, with Kerry Lake and Fetterman, where they've had their opponents say, well, I'm not going to debate you. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to debate me. We're just going to go to, and the fact that they could do that. The Kerry Lake thing bothers me so much because what was that other woman that she ran against? Sam? It's something similar that which used to bother me. That's why
I can't think of her name.
I don't know. Berry Pond to something. It was so close to Kerry Lake.
Kerry Lake, yeah, Mrs. Ocean.
But the woman was overseeing her own election. Okay, like that shouldn't happen.
No,
that shouldn't. And anybody
wasn't
who
she the
says,
one that certified?
Yeah, but anybody who says, well, that's her job, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Katie Hobbs.
Katie Hobbs. Yes. It's not fair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's stupid. It even suggests that's okay because once again, this is how ridiculous my life has gotten. I have to talk to adults like I'm talking to 5-year-olds because if someone did that to you, you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, to explain and for them to be like, oh, okay.
Actually, they won't. They'll go, no, I wouldn't care because right now they're getting their way. But then flip it. Yeah. Then literally, when it does flip, those are the loudest ones. John.
I just find it amazing that people that run this country or within the government organization, it's amazing how they just don't care. They're stupid. Like they're just dumb. Even just common sense stuff, they don't have it. You know, I don't get how we're able to, go through the elections like this. We all predicted this was going to happen in the midterms. Kerry Lake, should she have lost? No. I mean, Herschel Walker?
No.
I mean, that Warnock dude, what a dope.
See, here's the difference. And I couldn't believe they were doing this to Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker, right? College graduate, very smart guy. Believe it or not, they started picking on his accent because his accent, yes, is very Southern and it does make him sound dopey. Right? If you're not from the South, you might not catch every word because he has a very Southerny way of speaking.
It's a Southern way.
Yeah. But here's something that the left, has been screaming and is actually an accurate point, but they don't like it when it goes against them. You can't judge him on that. Judge him on his actions.
Yeah.
Judge him what he does and say, not the way he says something, but the way he does it. So if the man follows through on something, well, I appreciate that. Like that's why with Trump, I didn't care the way he sounded. He is rude, but did you see how he got that peace deal through?
I never minded that.
Yeah, he's rude, but he just got that pipeline deal done.
Yeah.
But it was every time they'd say he's rude, I'd say, but he just the right to try act. And you'd name 30 things. I don't care how they sound. As long as you're getting the job done, who cares? Once again, we live in a very diverse country that I've been told my entire life that you have to accept everybody with accents and this, that, and the other thing. Well, you also have to accept people from this country with accents.
Definitely.
Just because he's from the South doesn't mean he's less educated.
Yeah, I never understood that. Like, I get how you can make fun of how different accents sound. I think the Boston one, especially anybody from up here, this is the worst one of the country.
True.
So
Jersey and New York are close.
Yeah, I
and
know.
Philly.
They really are. So it's like the Northeast is really
Minnesota.
But I would laugh at the Minnesota one for a little bit. Though.
Yeah, it's
if they just keep saying Minnesota like that, that'd be funny. Like, what the hell? I'll take a
Well,
soda pop.
You're a hoser.
You're a hoser, eh? That would be the weirdest thing to have to. I don't know. I think I could tolerate that just because all the great movies from the 80s who did that stuff, not so bad.
Yeah, Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Yeah, that was the greatest.
Ooh,
But besides that, I mean, come on. The Northeast has some horrific accents.
It does.
But who cares? It is what it is. But for people to really get up in arms over, it's kind of
Well, no, what they did was they twisted it, and it was horrible because a racist scumbag twisted it. Now, the best part was because Herschel Walker happened to be running as a Republican, they deemed him as being a sellout and not black. And I couldn't believe my ears when I was hearing this stuff.
That's so stupid. Now the other guy, Warnock, is running he's running against. He should be like, hey guys, that's a little too far.
Warnock was saying it.
Shouldn't he be saying that's a little too far rather than actually saying it?
He should be one of these. But he's
what's wrong with
but he's a racist and he hates white people.
But that's also one of those things at the end of it. They could say, well, I just said that because we were, I don't know, campaigning against each other.
No. This guy, he's a hardcore leftist.
Yeah.
He's a racist. Wow. And I think his problem is
blatant racist.
Yeah. Anybody that comes against him, he then, since he's dim-witted, I don't care how many degrees he has, he's dim-witted. I've heard the man speak. He then has to go to one of the, the go-tos. You're racist, homophobe,
exactly.
Whatever.
When those people feel they're down and out, they got to hit real low.
Well, that's why when they tried to do that whole thing where they tried to say that what killed Herschel Walker down there, and everybody always acts like, well, you got to play above the board and let's treat each other with respect and see who could do the job. Well, Warnock's people put out this whole thing that I guess Herschel paid for some woman to have an abortion, which has never been proven to be true, and Herschel denied it. But when you say that down in a very religious state,
it's not a good look if you say that, to accuse him of that.
And you have a guy who's out there saying abortion shouldn't be legal,
and that's where people are so stupid that if when something like that is kind of thrown at you last hour, you got to be thinking, well, hold on a minute, that's kind of a heavy story and that's just coming out now.
Well,
they don't think about that stuff.
It's like every single woman that accused Trump of rape.
Yeah, exactly.
And remember how every woman was saying, you have to believe women, you have to believe women, you have to believe women.
Kavanaugh, same thing.
And then you find out they all effing lied and wrecked these people's lives. And it does, whether you believe it to have affected whatever's happening right at that time or affecting something later in life, because the problem with stuff like that is later in life people forget the truth. They remember the accusation, they forget the truth.
Yep. Because then what ends up happening is then the books skew the truth.
Of course,
and the books will leave out some of the details or the ending.
Exactly. Well, the Rutgers rugby team.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Then you had Tawana Brawley's case even long before that.
Yep.
And what these people do is they come out and they say, hey, these people raped me or these people did something. So now the accusation wrecks lives. And then within 2 or 3 years, that person that made the accusation comes out and goes, I lied. Sorry about that. But those people now, everywhere they go, their name is synonymous with rape.
Definitely. See, it's only every once in a while those kind of work and the good guy wins. Like that Sandman kid when he was getting destroyed in Washington, and that guy was going up taunting him in his face, and he had the black Israelites behind that guy and threatening these high school kids, and that for those few weeks, maybe it was longer, they were dragging that Nick Sandman's name through the mud.
Yeah, of course they were.
Making him seem like he was just this most vicious and evil kid, and he was just standing there being berated by these adults, these grown adults, and nobody did anything until he finally got the last laugh. So it was good. Same thing with the Kyle Rittenhouse. Very similar story.
Very similar.
They're both those. So every once in a while, the good guy kind of prevails in the end, but very few and far between.
Think about what Kyle had to go through.
Oh my God!
And you know what's crazy about that? Not only did he have to go through it that night, where he had a mob chasing him,
right,
and trying to kill him, and not a joke like it's just a mob behind him and they're running after somebody else. That mob was after him, and they were, especially those two guys had chased him coming to kill that kid.
Yeah, they were.
He was terrified. And then he's got to sit in solitary thinking his entire life now he's going to be in jail and people are trying to kill him and all this other crazy stuff. That's why when he's on Twitter and a little arrogant, well, here's the thing. He's still a kid. He's a kid that went through some horrible stuff, by the way, that is totally messed with his head.
Nobody can go through that.
And I defy anybody to go to jail and for an extended period of time and come out the same as you went in. It changes you. It just does, because then you start realizing, well, people could take my freedom.
Yeah.
People could do certain things.
That is so tough.
It's a horrible thing, but they wrecked those kids. And you're right, long term, because they both got millions out of it. They're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But what about the people that didn't get to sue or whatever? They have wrecked so many people's careers off those horrible accusations. And when you have Warnock coming out and saying it against Herschel Walker, at the very, very least, very least, it should have been something with dignity and said, hey, look, their accusations about his personal life, I'm not going to get into those.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
You know what I mean? And let them sort that out. I'm here to talk about business. How would you fix the roads? How would you represent the state? None of this. Well, no, I heard you gave a woman a ride to see it, because politics have turned into a soap opera. It's turned into the
That's
WWE.
exactly what it is, a popularity contest and a soap opera. It is annoying, and that's the people just I don't know running our country. But that's why this is just been driven right into the ground right now with everything.
But that's why you have people like AOC and Presley and
the false
Liz
flaggers?
Warrens.
Yeah.
No, just who are just totally inept and incompetent, who have these incredibly titled jobs.
Yeah, they're only good at getting like all pretend upset.
Yes,
that's all, and they're just trying to stir the pot. That's every one of them are, and they need a new crop of these people. That's why those five, like the AOC, Omar's, all those ones. That's why they were so important and still are, because the older ones are kind of getting past their prime, so they're going to be going out to pasture soon. Pretty soon, got to get that new crop groomed in.
Well, you always have to bring in a new crop of crazies.
Yeah, that's what they're doing,
and they've done that very well. I mean, like I've always said. And people always say to me, Republicans. Listen, man, here's the problem. Look at Mitch McConnell. That guy's not a Republican. That guy's, I mean, look at who we have on the Republican side who are just, I can't even remember exactly what it was. Have you ever gotten so mad and so frustrated that you just had to turn everything off and walk away and just not look at it anymore? Like I was so angry about that trade yesterday. And I'm thinking to myself, false flag because you stole the election and blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, Mitch McConnell's up there talking about, I know they're trying to push this last bill through before, they lose the majority. So, yeah, we let them do it. And we let them throw these three things in that we've been trying to hold back for the last year. And, man, we're not going to oppose it. My head almost popped off my shoulders because Mitch McConnell.
There is no backbone in the Republican Party.
Well, you know what? I know. And call me a racist because it's called common sense. No, it's called common sense, but you're called racist for using it now.
Oh, all right.
I believe that Mitch McConnell's wife, who comes from where?
I think it's Taiwan, China.
Yeah, okay, China. Yeah, China, I believe. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think
and she worked for the government, didn't she?
She worked for the government.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Who now is married to a guy who works for our government.
Yeah, and they said about a year ago, there's so many Chinese spies within our government that we have no idea. They're all dating or they're drivers, doing whatever, that sort of thing for these people.
The driver was Dianne Feinstein, had a driver for over 20 years. Still didn't fire him, by the way, even when they found out he was a spy.
He's a good driver, Brian.
Well, that's true. You know something? He was dependable.
He gets here to there in no time.
You might not like the fact that he's a spy. I get it. But when you got a plane taken off.
A master at GPS.
There's nobody else I'd rather behind the wheel.
Yeah, me too.
Exactly. I want Ahmed. Actually, why would it be Ahmed if he's Chinese?
I want Wang.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't want to be racist, John.
No, that's not racist, is it?
Well, no.
It's just like you were saying, it was an Italian name like Anthony.
Exactly. I hear you. But we've all been groomed now to everything's racist.
Oh, all right.
I just figured I would jump on it before anybody else said racist, homophobe.
It is weird that people do think that is racist.
What, by saying a name?
Yeah, well, exactly. Saying like an Asian name that we all know those are Asian names. That's not racist.
And that is one of the things last night actually hit me because somebody had mentioned something, and when somebody said the name because it fit the name, but I remember everybody going like, like, did you just? Hey, look, I didn't mean because that name sounds like something, like someone's name. Like I didn't mean it like that. I just meant there is a real man named that. Yeah. And yes, he happens to be that persuasion, but he is named that. So it's not racist. It's just true.
That's just like calling anybody. I mean, like I said, Anthony is a good Italian name. Yeah. I would just think that's just, I don't know. I don't know what John is, just plain old American name. Mike, things like that. It's
like, well, if you said I'm going to an Irish bar and somebody went, O'Malley's?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
no.
Yeah, no.
Of course not.
Giordano's. You know what I mean? It's like,
you're not allowed anymore to point things out because once again, everything, you see that once again, that's the problem of when every word becomes racist and every action becomes racist and everything becomes, see, once again, everybody has to be a victim nowadays. Everybody. And I think because we started giving victims stuff, you know what I mean?
That's true.
So anybody who is a victim of something horrible, people go, oh, well, that's a horrible thing that happened. Let's try to make it up to this person.
Yeah.
And then everybody else went, well, what about my life? My life stinks too.
Oh, okay.
So then when you have words like, let's say, like, and the big one was always the N-word, right? Oh, it should be outlawed. And how do you outlaw a word? Once again, you have freedom of speech. Am I saying the word's nice? Of course not.
Right.
But what I'm saying is you can't technically outlaw the word. And all you're doing by doing that is giving that word so much more power that when somebody does use it, it's even more hurtful.
Exactly. It doesn't, it's so bizarre because in other cultures, that word's really not a big deal.
Of course not.
Because they don't make it a big deal.
Well,
I mean, I'm sure, not to the big deal that I'm sure they still can't just freely say it.
well,
But
well,
it's
see,
like
but
it is what it is.
the hypocrisy came with
crazy.
this too, because then like actors and entertainers and stuff still wanted to use it,
Right.
and then started going, okay, well, we'll drop the R and just use A.
Yeah.
And let's stop with this.
Yeah.
Listen, it just you can't take it away in this country. I have freedom of speech. This is what used to happen when I was growing up. Was we all knew what bad things were, and we all knew that you acted a certain way. And when somebody acted outside of that, you'd say, look at this jerk off.
Yeah, he's effed.
Yeah, that guy's an a-hole. And then people would put him in his place.
Definitely.
So, like, if we were in a store and let's just say some racist guy came in and started just berating somebody for no reason, other people would go, "Why don't you shut the F up, mother effer?"
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's
and it would be over.
Yeah.
But once you start doing it the other way, you know?
And it is so far gone the other way that people will come in and just break into it, not even break into the store, just go in the store to rob it broad daylight with the store open, customers in it, and nobody will do a thing about it. They actually are trained to step away and just let them take what they want and leave.
Unfortunately, I heard this the other day. Some people might have heard about this. I think it happened right around Thanksgiving, so about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. There was an elderly guy used to work at Home Depot. He was a greeter, and he was standing by the door, and these people were trying to steal stuff. So he kind of stood in their way and said, "Hey, don't do that." So they pushed this guy as hard as they could. He fell and whacked his head on the ground, and he wound up dying over the
Unbelievable.
So that elderly guy who was doing nothing but trying to earn a few bucks for Christmas for his grandkids is dead because some scumbag was stealing.
Steal crap.
Yeah, I mean, but we have it right now. They have it to the point where you let the criminals do what they want. Don't get involved because you might get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other part that really blew my mind. And this is true. Remember, in some cities, in some states, that if you call the cops, if it's not for a good enough reason, they won't send the cops.
Yeah.
They all right, you can come in and fill a report out. I mean,
I mean, if you can steal something that's up to $1,000 before they even blink to do anything about, these criminals do it all day long.
Yep.
It's crazy that you can steal $1,000 up to stuff and nothing will happen to you, but how dare you send $600 to somebody through Venmo without paying taxes on it?
Well, that
a-hole.
See, once again, the hypocrisy
crazy.
and what they choose to enforce is weird.
Yeah.
Like I saw somebody. You're right. I saw somebody the other day. They're saying now that, especially in this state, I guess. Now, does anybody know? Did the illegals getting driver's license in Massachusetts?
I believe that passed.
They're gonna get driver's license.
Yeah, they can. They're not going to, Brian. Not going to be handed them, but I believe that one's the yes. That was supposed to be a no, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was all of them was supposed to be no's, really.
Yeah. So I believe
I would
that
love
one,
to know if that really passed. And
do you remember which question that was?
I believe it's question 3.
Do you?
I don't know.
You just guess.
No, I think it was 3 or 4 actually.
Okay.
I think it might have been 4 because
it said yes. John and Brandy, of course. All right. So yes, guys. In June of 2023.
Sorry, John.
Sorry, John. Sorry about that. We didn't know.
All right, listen. So, who voted yes on that?
Right.
I want to know who voted yes on that.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing. I can't believe. I mean, because
you're voting for other people to break the law.
Yeah. Well, the argument is, but if they get into an accident, I want to make sure we know who that person is. So you mean to tell me that person here is illegal? You think they gave the right information to get the license in the first place? And even if they did, do you think? Come on.
Yeah,
they just don't use. They never use their real name because they're here under kind of the radar.
When I was, and this was years ago, okay, when I was driving a taxi, right, going to college, I used to pick up at the emergency rooms all the time, right? And you pick them up and you drive them to wherever. They have a system. It's not as discombobulated as everybody wants to believe. People just come here all willy-nilly. No, it's a system. People that come over, like, especially like I know in this area, you were welcomed into a community where they already had your apartment ready. Like, because one family would move out and they just move another family in.
Right.
Okay. You were just the next family. You had to pay a certain amount of money every month that went into a pile, basically. They would pay everybody's bills, and at the end of every month, right, whatever was left over, it would go to one family. Right. And every month that would change. Okay. They also taught you that, okay, you can live 20 to a house because 8 of you are going to be working at any given point. So there's only 8 people there. There's 2 bedrooms, 4 in a room. That's not that bad.
Exactly.
Like
they've learned these systems and they're smooth and fluid.
And when I used to pick up at the ERs, I used to also pick up the nurses and stuff, and they would
Yeah.
say, "Well, we're losing so much money because everybody gives us the same name and fake address." So, like, it's just known. Give this name and this address.
Exactly. They just know.
Because you cannot be turned away from an ER in America.
Right.
That's the thing. So, no matter what you say, you come in. No, I don't have any ID. My name is whatever, and I live there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really crazy.
Now treat me.
Yeah, see, it's weird how they choose who they are gonna, I guess, cater to and who they're not.
Yep.
But the hypocrisy in this whole government, through everything, is crazy. I mean, you have President Biden. I don't even know what he is anymore. If he's coherent, if he's just whatever. I mean, there's never one day he has a cohesive thought ever.
Are you talking about President Biden with or without sunglasses?
Oh, you're talking about, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It's a good point.
Yeah, with or without sunglasses. Is it the guy that can ride a bike really fast and pop a wheelie and wave to everybody at the same time?
Or the guy who just can't shake a hand if it was in front of his face.
Or he shakes hands that aren't in front of his face.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, he does that phantom handshake a lot.
Yeah.
You're right. Sunglasses Biden's good.
Yeah, I dig him.
He's good. He's athletic. He's vibrant.
I always think of Top Gun when I see sunglasses.
Oh my God! Yeah, he's definitely the maverick of the White House.
He certainly is.
Yeah, he sure is. Yeah, Sunglasses Biden. He's the one.
Whoever's playing Sunglasses Biden really pulls it off.
Yeah,
like he's a good one. I don't know. I mean, I think they let Joe be regular Joe.
It's so not believable because the way he's tooling around on that bike.
It's not. And once again, when he does the thing where he kind of does a skid to stop and he shoots the dirt and all that.
Watch this roost.
It's like, look.
And the one time they put him on the bike, he falls off of it. He wasn't wearing sunglasses. That was real Joe.
No, actually,
how do you do this?
He was trying to confuse everybody. He was wearing sunglasses. I can't stop. Like that really didn't help. Persona.
That was terrible.
That was phenomenal. That happened.
Oh my God! I mean, it was funny because I really think anybody would have fallen in that situation.
Oh, I would have fallen too.
Because his foot just got stuck in the thing.
But ironic that every other time when it's the other guy, it doesn't happen.
Never a problem. That guy unclicks those feet like nothing.
I think it's the same guy. Do you remember when he was driving the car? And everybody's like, "Hey, look how fast Joe's going!" And then they said, "Oh, wait a second, the guy on the other side is actually controlling the car."
That was great.
He has the gas,
and then they said he just got a little too close to the old cameras. But you remember when they parked that, when they stopped it, it had to be like 30 feet away from the cameras. But the problem is he swooped in too close, so Jimmy cameraman was able to catch 2 steering wheels inside the old car. And Joe Biden was just holding it, and the steering wheel was turning on its own, but he wasn't turning his hands too.
That was hilarious.
Thing. Very, very funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, they have a puppet, obviously, in there. And what he's done though recently, and even up just until yesterday, is just everything is anti-American. Like once again, our food supply, our supply chain, our oil, letting Venezuela dig for oil as opposed to us.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, just the trade with Russia for that basketball player who I mean, I don't know anything about her, and not that I had to.
She hates the country.
First off, if she's American, honestly, I don't care. I mean, I do care in this situation, but typically, I wouldn't care if this person hated America or not. If you're an American, you're being held in a country, especially like that, you get them out. That's just how I feel. So whatever. Now, this is a different situation, but with this, you don't say, all right, we're going to take her and him and everybody else that you have, and then we'll give you a guy back, maybe, but you don't even give the guy back.
Well, remember, it's like when Trump was getting people and they'd say, well, what did you trade for him? And he'd say,
nothing.
I just got him back.
Got him back.
Yeah, all of them.
I mean,
then what did you have to give up?
Nothing. That's the kind of trade you do.
Yeah, no, this guy gave up, one of the most evil people of our lifetime.
The guy, and now don't you think that guy's going to come back tenfold?
He's going to be treated like a hero for coming back.
Definitely.
And being put in prison for as long as he was. Putin's going to celebrate this guy,
mm-hmm.
and boom, right back to work.
Definitely.
He's going to be right back to work.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous how they would stoop to that.
Well, it's kind of like when they released, I love this. This is how dumb people are. When they would release people from Gitmo, okay? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, years later, like they would show up on the terrorist watch list again, and people go, "Get out of town." I thought he was rehabilitated.
That guy said he was going home.
He told us
he wasn't going to do anything.
Listen, when he got on the plane, when he was leaving, he said, "I promise, no crosses count, that I am not going to be a terrorist again."
That's right. I'm going to get into the home gardening thing, and raise a family,
I
I'm
like
gonna
the-
have a great time.
I like the fact that you guys put me through school.
Yeah.
I used my time wisely while I was here.
Unbelievable.
And instead, he's going to go back and build better bombs.
Yeah, it's just one of the. I mean, it happens a lot. Remember the clock kid? Whatever happened with the phenomenon of the clock kid?
Well, I love how he left the country and everybody acted like that was normal.
Right. Well, he just wanted to leave the country.
Yeah, because
Brian.
he didn't like the response he
What
got,
was
so he
he,
decided
12?
to move. Yeah, so he moved to another country.
I know.
This is crazy.
All of it is, and then and all the little things like that, like clock kid, things like that, or others like I don't know, China buying plots of farmland, or I don't know, farmland that's near military bases. That's the best one. I love those ones. You know,
well, it's just farmland. What can he possibly do near our military base?
I don't understand how we're selling to these Chinese companies
because
our land
now, because there's no rule against it, because they are smart enough to understand to leave their ends open. They leave it open-ended for their corruption. You know what I mean? Because technically, there's nothing I think that says you can't sell to a communist.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, I mean, even it shows that you're treasonous. I would assume that maybe that it could do that, because that seems like treason to me, especially if you know they're going to be. Because let's put it this way, man, they're not buying up our farmland and stuff like that to be nice to us.
No,
they're taking our effing resources. Let me explain this, everybody. And I know this from a game called Age of Empires.
This is one of your good ones that you brought. You had me kind of download and try. I wasn't a fan.
It's a good game, John.
Wasn't a fan.
But it starts with, you're this one guy and you have to build a hut so you have somewhere to live, and you have to build one farm so you have something to eat.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then you kind of keep building up and up and up and up and up, and up. So you can consistently have your own food and fire to keep warm, and shelter and transportation. And then you build an army, because other people are going to try and take your stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to come try and take this. So you got to defend your stuff, everybody.
That's right. It's a good point.
You don't then start saying, hey, you know something? We're doing really well. Why don't we sell the middle of our stuff to everyone? You could take our food. And here's better yet. We promise we won't make our own pharmaceuticals. We'll buy them from you, China. And we won't make our own PPE. We'll buy them from you, too. So you could turn those around right in the middle of a pandemic and tell us to go F ourselves.
Oh, boy.
You know, I mean.
You're so right. And know what's funny about all this is we still haven't learned our lesson. I mean, right now, all of our pharmaceuticals are still coming over from China.
Well, think about one. Honestly, John, when you just think of oil, that's right there. That ends it. That ends it, because for this country to exist, we need energy. We need the lights on. We need heat. We need, and I'm talking about not so we go back to Little House on the Prairie days. I'm talking about just so it's a minor disruption that would still suck.
Mm-hmm.
But if what could happen happens, that would be terrifying, because it would knock us back to the Stone Ages.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
We don't have that oil. Now, all of a sudden, you got to wait months before it's pumped out of the ground and refined and whatever. And other people in the world are effing us. And at that time is when they strike. That's what I'm saying. The people in power have made us very weak and have done it on purpose.
On purpose,
and
there's
a reason, because they're getting a lot of money and they believe they're to be safe whenever happens.
Boy.
But we really have been made a lot weaker, and they act like it's done in the vein of being kind to other people. Well, you give money because that's what you do.
Yeah.
I don't have it. Yeah, but I know you don't have it. But look at them. They really don't have it.
It's just
charge it or something.
But I don't understand how they can actually be like that.
Because they're getting paid off.
Well, that's it. I mean, their pockets are getting very fat.
When you look at how Hunter Biden has lived his life, the man has never technically worked, although he's ran 5 or 6 different companies.
And he's quite the criminal.
Yeah.
And you're right. He's lived pretty well.
I was watching something the other day. Apparently, the FBI has come out and unfortunately has said that they think they have enough evidence to get him on the gun thing.
Yeah, do you think they're ever going to do anything like that? Yeah.
No, because then somebody had said, I guess, that he had turned down a deal they had offered him.
Really?
You know what I mean? And the deal was like no time anyway. Even though, once again, if you or I were to lie, because I would, I know people that have gone for their gun stuff and they have the pot card and said, I don't smoke pot. And then, somebody, like the guy filling it out, will say, well, do you have a card? Yeah. And you think they're not going to check that?
Right.
And they're like, stupid. So the guy's like, you understand it's 10 years they're going to give you?
Because you lied?
Yeah. And you're knowingly lying and you're on a register. So this
but Hunter Biden.
Don't forget, there's that whole record of him doing coke and stuff, and
It's
his
just-
gun being thrown in that garbage.
There's hypocrisy everywhere because
That's thrown out of the freaking military for it.
Oh my God, it's huge. And yeah, if that was just you or I, would be locked up forever. I mean, it's the same thing with all the money. Everything is the hypocrisy is crazy. The $6 trillion that the government just kind of lost and just shrugging it off like whatever. And in the same breath, they really said, "Oh, we're going to crack down on Venmo and other apps like that for that $600. We're going to tax you." It's just crazy how they can do that with a straight face. Like what,
John? Don't worry. It's only if you make over 400,000.
Yeah,
Or you send somebody or get money over 600 on Venmo.
Unbelievable.
So it went from you making 400 grand a year to anything over $600 you transact business with.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So
that's a hell
thank
of a
you,
jump.
you stupid sons of bitches.
Yeah.
That's what you did to the country. Because you bought it when they said, "Oh, only the top 1% are going to pay anything." How funny was it that it went only the top 1%? You got to make like over $1 million. Top 1% of the country is going to pay this $1 million a year. Please.
It's not everybody. Come on. I mean, even if you made $1 million, you'd be able to afford it.
You
right?
could afford exactly. Then all of a sudden it went down.
That makes it fair.
It went down to like I think 600-ish was talked for a minute, and they said, "Now 400."
Yeah.
All right, we'll do 4. So all of a sudden, you didn't have to be a millionaire anymore. You just had to make 400 grand. So you make a good living. That they want a big chunk of
But
now.
then they're going to realize, well, there's some people making 400, but there's a lot more making 100.
Exactly. And those people, let's put it this way: a lot more people, especially who have kids or don't have a lot of money, we're using this Venmo thing back and forth because I can't keep track of it.
That's right.
So let's give a good number, not 6,000 or 60,000.
Nah, that's silly. That's silly numbers.
Let's do 600.
Okay, fine.
So anybody paying rent now using Venmo is going to have to report it and pay tax on it.
Pay a tax on that too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just give somebody cash anymore.
What about sending your kid money because your kid's hurting or whatever?
Yeah, well, you can. You just have to pay for it.
Even though you already paid taxes on when you made it, you got to pay taxes on now that you're sending it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't worry about it. We have money to send to the Ukraine. We have a quota to fill, and that money from you sending the Venmo is going to help us fill that quota because there are poor people in the Ukraine that need it.
Got to come from somewhere, right?
That's right, Brian.
Do they understand once again that I don't think these people understand what they've done to the entire country?
No, because they continue to do it. But the problem is they want to do it, and it's weird because they want to do it because they're getting the votes, and that's going to keep them in power to get more money. And that's all. They're just doing it it's just a big giant circle. They're extorting other countries for money, and they're using our lives and livelihood as kind of the bait.
Well, what I don't like about what's happening now is one, we got winter coming, right? And I know it almost feels like very Game of Thrones-ish to me to keep talking about how winter's coming.
It'll be a cold winter, Brian.
Yeah, but they're saying that over in Europe too, because remember Russia is not giving or supplying energy to Europe.
That's right.
Now we as Americans could be pumping our own oil and then supplying it to our allies. So not only helping our allies, but making a few bucks for the old pocket ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. But we're not doing that. We're going to let Venezuela or somebody else take that on.
Yeah, it's way better.
But we have all this nonsense going on with, and here we go with the winter, right? And what are they doing again to us now? Like they literally just were talking. I don't know if you heard it just earlier this morning. They're talking about the food shortages. So I guess we'll get into that Monday. But got some food shortages. In case you noticed, like already, that baby food thing didn't get fixed.
Oh, okay, yeah. The formula, you're still left. If you need formula, you're effed big time. It's there's going to be more ships stuck in the ocean again.
Yeah, well, it's harder to get stuff over here.
I mean, right? It's
not only because it's the weather, John, but because there's not enough diesel.
True.
To get these ships over
That's
now.
True.
So.
And we can't really depend on the farms and stuff here for many crops and things like that, even steak and beef, because
China bought them.
That and a lot of our farms had these mysterious fires. Nothing we can do about that. A lot of chickens dead.
And we didn't get into this yet, but apparently a lot of our electrical grids, they did it down in North Carolina over the weekend, are getting attacked by people with like guns, and they're just shooting at them until they blow up.
Well, what are you going to do, Brian? People like that. It's target practice, but in a bad way. We'll crack down.
We have a secure country. It's not like they could have just walked in from anywhere. We know who's in the country. We'll be all right.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah. Crazy.
We'll be fine.
All right, everybody. It's the end of the show. Got to go. Sorry about that, but got to get back to work. All right. Have a great day, everybody. See you later, buddy.
Bye.
See you on Monday. We are Renegade Radio. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Suicide, give it all away, never stay with a winner with a man with all. Yeah. Come on, keep it all alive with a ride on the record on the top. Hey, boy. Big man, you got it wrong. Some long time friends gonna lose it in the end of the war. Sing on, give it all away. Say a buzz, say a man, say a ghost, say what you wanna be. Yeah.